when I hear some people, equal communication with social networking, I'm like, great. That's the number one big misconception about communication. Social networking is not communication. Communication is not social networking. But if you reverse that, social networking is part of your communication skills. Okay. So speaking of communication, it's actually pretty inclusive. All of the topics you get to see right here in EQ, your CQ, your self-monitoring abilities, your self-reflection abilities, your listening skills, persuasion, all of these are building into your communication skills. So for instance, if I'm saying right now that I'm not seeing all of your faces, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable, then it's part of your EQ to accommodate, right? So communication is a more like a joint effort. Everybody needs to be responsible in this process and making contributions together. Also, for instance, before you even open your mouth, your listening skills is actually the number one thing to remember. You have to be able to know how to engage in active listening. You don't interrupt others. You don't ask compound questions, for instance. You don't really, prepare for debate while you're listening to others. So all of these tips are belonging to listening skills, and it's part of your communication skills. Then why are we talking about social networking today? Social networking reflects your EQ, your CQ, right? Your ability of interacting with people of different cultures. And also it reflects your persuasion skills, for instance. So social networking incorporates a lot of aspects of communication skills, but it's not entirely, the entire definition of communication. So this is more like a overview or say a clarification I do think we need to make in the beginning of the session so that we don't really mix up together these two different notions, okay? So today we'll focus more on, EQ and also your persuasion skills, a little bit listening skills in our session. Before we even move into a deeper level of talking about social networking, I have a very quick survey for you to do. I wanted to go through this list very quickly and just kind of recall your past social networking events, your social networking experience with different people, even in your industry or on campus. Have you ever gone through any one of these situations before? If so, and there we go. Here is the asynchronous response that I would get from you. Okay, I'm just out of my curiosity. Who wants to share your perspective in terms of this one? I'm wasting my time. Why do you think so? Anyone picked this one or voted for this one?
Well, I voted. And first of all.
So why do you think so?
First of all, it is the first option. So this is it comes to my eyes first.
So, right there.
Yeah, and second, although I think I experienced many of these categories, many of these options, but since I joined this class, I think I really want to expose my weakness, so I chose this one.
Oh, that's a great thought, I have to say. It's I usually in my class, I would call it as growth mindset, meaning that you're growing from making mistake. I think it's a really smart and correct and appropriate mindset. Okay, great. So any other people choosing any one of the three choices?
Actually, it was Jingxin is a doctor and work at UCLA. I'm glad he set good examples in speaking out. He has done quite a lot of the research, very interesting research work in the space science, and also is a dedicated community service leader as well in different alumni associations.
Okay.
Thank you, Jingxin.
Impressive. Okay, so Ethan, what about you? I like your background. It's very attractive. So that's why I called you. Which one?
I choose the E, social. network meeting is when I gave a detailed description of my background. Yeah, because for me, I feel it's more important for me to get a better connection with people during the social network. So
You want them
I
to
always try to,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
always try
That's
to
great.
speak more about my background.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong about having that idea, and I believe this is the one of the purposes that usually people have when they go to social networking events. Okay, so let's talk about these choices. I'm gonna deactivate it right now and then go back to our slides. Okay, so it seems like choice A, I'm just wasting my time. Choice E, a social networking event when I give a detailed description of myself. Choice D, no one wants to meet with an experienced worker. Those three are the top three winners for tonight. So let's talk about these, okay? If you look at A, C, D, G, H, okay, A, C, D, G, H. If you look at those descriptions, why do people usually feel that way? Okay, based on my observations and based on my analysis, it seems like usually people feel, oh, I'm just wasting my time, or my networking contacts should find me a job. It's usually because of first, you don't have a very appropriate mindset when you walk into a social networking event. Why do we have a social networking event? The purpose is to have you gain more insights, right? You learn about people's background, and you expand your knowledge bases about one particular subject matter. So not necessarily you will always find a job through a social networking event. And also, by having this mindset, you need to set up a very clear objective, meaning that what's your goal to be there? Okay, why are you spending your time in a social networking event? And it's very common to hear people say that, oh, I just go there. Now just get there and then figure out what I should do, or who are the people I should meet. And those are wrong assumptions, and those are something you should clarify before you even decide go to that social event. Okay, for instance, we're going to talk about the objectives today later, but just to give you a little bit more idea right now, that if you have the objective, say, I'm going to meet certain amount of people today, and then I'm going to learn X, Y, Z. Then when you start your conversation will be more purposeful. And you have a very clear goal to direct your conversation. Otherwise, when you get to the social networking, you just, I don't know what to say about you. I don't know what to ask, right? You know nothing about the attendees at the social network event. And that's why you go like, oh, this is awkward, right? And my conversation is not going anywhere. So today we're gonna tackle all of these myths by giving you some tips. But first of all, let's talk about objectives. So by having a clear goal is like a very good beginning of a good communication, okay? So first of all, knowing that you're going there to gather new information. You're not just going there to show up. Okay, so that's a very big thing to remember. You want to be there to listen. You want to be there to question. You want to be there to absorb new information. So according to social network analysis, the people you know very well in your social circles, those are your strong tie. Okay, but people you're meeting today right here online, those are your weak ties. Weak ties meaning that people you don't know very well, okay? But usually, studies have shown that usually it's the weak ties that provide the richest information. Okay, so whatever your goal is, I'm just go there to get new information, I'm just go there to find a job. Usually attending social network event itself is a very big move, and it's a great move already. And then you are going there to add new context, okay? Usually, I went to several social networking events with my friends previously. And at the end of social network events, I asked them, hey, what did you get out of today? And they go like, well, just meet some new people. So, okay, great. So what did you get out of them? And they say, well, we talked. I said, great. Then what did you get out of them? I asked one more time. And what's the purpose of my question? My purpose is to ask, did you get their contact info? And did you remember their names? And usually the answer is, I know that guy. I think his family name is X. Like, you don't remember their name at all, right? So adding new contacts is not simply putting people into your WeChat list. Adding people means that you at least learn about their background, you learn about their interests, you remember their names, and you know how to follow up with their conversation. Okay, so those are the purpose of adding new context. And then you need to be realistic and consistent. First of all, you cannot expect that you're becoming good friends with each other. That's not the purpose. But you do need to do follow-up jobs. Okay, can you give me, just by show of hands, okay, how many of you didn't do a follow-up job after you leave a social network event? You didn't talk. You didn't send an email. Okay, we got 2 honest people. Okay, what about the rest of you? Okay.
Sometimes too, sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay, Chelsea, what about you?
I'm also sometimes. There's like a conference for women in STEM, and my friend and I talked to this lady and we followed up with her, and she agreed to be our mentor right on the spot. So
there we go. That's great.
Then job. I just remember there's another person I talked to and I did not follow up. So
okay,
some mistakes here and there.
It's very common. So be realistic means that we're not expecting that we're going to be good friends and things forever, right? And then the fact is that we should always kind of keep each other updated a little bit. Say, hey, how are you? How have you been? And then this is my current situation. I would just want to keep you updated, stuff like that. You need to always be able to force you to do so, even though it's making you uncomfortable. Okay? And be consistent. By that, I mean, you don't want to go to, like, say, 6 social networking events in a month. What's the point? Right? Your goal should be that you go to 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 social events consistently. And that way you get to know this, more people with more focused target. Okay. So this way you keep showing up, and people are getting more familiar with you, and you're just making yourself more visible. Okay. Be realistic and be consistent. The last one, try to get an evangelist. That's kind of the ideal situation. Like when you meet a new person and that person eventually becomes, a big fan of you or a big supporter, and that person will get you a job or introduce you, or at least bridge you to somebody. Okay, that's kind of the the most realistic goal. You have a bridge in between with you and somebody you want to know. And then, is that enough to have a very clear objective? No. Okay. For instance, you need to know about yourself way much better than you're supposed than you probably do now. So I have let me open up your self-analysis exercise. I want to pull up this file for you because this is something I force my students to do every single time when I teach communication class. So this is something you need to complete right before you go to any kind of social event or even a job interview. Okay, this is a very quick self-analysis exercise, but by answering these questions, you get to know that how much you don't know about yourself. Okay, how much more data you need to dig out of your past experience. So I'm gonna give you, let's say, 5 minutes probably. Try to write down some keywords, key phrases, or key answers for each one of the questions. And we'll save it for later, but now I want to give you the time to think about it. Okay? Think very carefully about your past experience and try to dig out of your, successful stories and try to frame it. Okay? All right. Okay. So knowing yourself better will help you prepare for yourself. Why so? First of all, if you look at all of the questions, we're really looking for in the informations that can best describe yourself. Whenever you do self-promotion, elevator pitch, or try to chat with people you meet in social networking events, people are more curious about your achievements, right? And you want to highlight your achievements in your narration instead of simply giving out a little bit, the kind of same old thing you say every time. Say, hi, my name is XYZ, and I'm from University of Southern California. And right in a second, you lost my attention, right? So having a very good self-introduction is important. We're gonna go back to this later. Before any kind of social network event, you first need to do a very good self-analysis, and then let's think about how to make a very good first impression. There are multiple things you want to consider, and these are pretty common sense knowledge, but I just want to quickly address them, so just in case where some people need to know. Okay, first of all, the context. Depending on the nature of the industry, you want to do a little bit research on the dress code, the social norms, right? The social expectations. For instance, if you're meeting with someone in a coffee shop, okay, or in a very casual social setting, it's fine for you to show up a little bit early. But if you're meeting with someone in their office, you probably don't want to go there too early. Say 10 minutes early, it seems very common, but it will make people uncomfortable because it triggers psychological burden. Oh, I have someone waiting for me in the office and I need to just quickly get myself up for that. So the context and social norms should be highly considered. And when I first came out for the job market, my first job interview, I went there one day before to test all of the routes and the estimated time on traffic. And I also observed, people's dressing code by standing in front of their door. So I know it sounded very creepy, but I do think it's something you want to know if you truly care about that opportunity, right? For some general social networking events, usually the dress code will be highly stated, and then this is the time for you to consider your energy. By dressing up very appropriately, it gives you the energy. And I can tell that when, especially right now during coronavirus, many of the companies are turning their job interview contests into online, and many of the social events are happening online. And then if you don't consider your energy presented during a conference or during an event, then you're not leaving a very good impression, right? I think turning on your camera is a very good and first step you want to do, because it creates a very good impression to the people you want to meet with. And also you want to be prepared with the knowledge and the necessary document you need to have. And these are some check lists for you to go through, and we're going to do another quick self-assessment. Let me activate it. You can just, if you use a cell phone just now, I think right now you need to switch back to online. So once you get online by typing into your browser with this address, you get to see a list of questions, asking for preparations you need to do for social networking events. And I guess it will help you expose, how much knowledge you have about the preparation you need to do before going to any kind of social network events and job interviews. Okay. And I hope it serves as a checklist for you to make sure, oh, I've done that, I've done this, I'm not doing very well on this part, and kind of serve as a reminder to yourself that, oh, there are something I need to do. Okay, so you can still keep working on it. This is the results we're getting right now. So what's your general feelings? Like how well do you think you have done in the past? Claire, what about you? Hi.
Hi, sorry, could you repeat your question again?
Question is, after doing this survey, how well do you think you've done in the past, in terms of preparing for a social networking event?
Before, I've never thinking about to prepare for a question for the event. I'm just maybe prepared for a self-introduction.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah, that's very common. And I think after doing this survey, you realize that there are something more to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Let's see. What about Yu Ting? Hi.
Hi.
Survey?
Yes.
Okay. How do you think about that?
I think I have much to improve because I didn't prepare for anything in the past networking events.
Okay. So which part do you think you can improve on?
Maybe think about questions to ask and yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Yes, I do. That's actually my purpose. I do want to use this survey to expose to yourself that what are something you need to do more. For instance, whenever you meet with a new person or whenever you are going on to attend a social networking, you usually get to know who are the potential attendees. For instance, today you're coming here, you know I'm going to be the speaker. And you know Dr. Hu is going to be here, Javon is going to be here. Then let's go through this process together. Before coming here, how many of you actually look it up online to search about me? Okay, we got one hand, two hands, great. Chelsea, did you raise your hand? Okay, great. Yeah, so how much do you know about me?
For me, I just saw, oh, you go to USC. I also go to USC.
Okay, so we have a connection. Okay, what else do you know? The rest of you. Jinxing, do you want to say something?
Well, yes. It's not the first time I heard about you because I think 1 year ago or 2 years ago, there was it's like a video. There was a video by you and your students, and I was not impressed by that video. But yeah.
That's okay. Well, what video were you talking about?
I forgot about that. I don't watch it for too long. But then for this time, I think I need to search for your bio, and I'm very impressed by your background, and also impressed to find that you may be even younger than me.
Oh, okay. Well, that's possible. But my question for you is that after reading my bio, and this is a question for everybody who have read my bio, okay? What did you learn about my background? Okay. So the reason I'm asking this question is, first of all, whenever you meet with a stranger or acquaintance, we want to know about where they're from, right? Those are common sense. Well, where is their company? But did you ever think about you need to try to figure out their preference? For instance, what are some articles did I endorse, on LinkedIn, for instance, right? And what is my preference for reading? And what are some interesting topics that would attract my eyes on LinkedIn? And what are some social network events did I go to before? Or what are some connections do I have, particularly in your desired industry? Okay, so those are some potential connections or say small details you can dig out of my bio and my LinkedIn webpage, right? And for instance, some other things you can think of, then it gives you a really good background to think of possible questions. And something would generate curiosity, right? Something would have you connect with me. And I know that, you're not just skimming through my bio, you're truly interested in talking to me. So I hope that this very quick survey shows you different aspects you need to work on, you need to think about whenever you go to a new social circle, you join a new social circle. Those are some cues or tips you can use for the future, right? Business climate, for instance, if you are meeting with person working in blockchain, right? And blockchain is combined with many other industries or embedded in many other industries, then you can actually talk about the new trend or new business change, in your desired industry. It shows your knowledge, it shows your practice in the desired industry, and people get to be impressed by your skills, right? Okay, so those are something I want to show you through this very quick quiz. And I think right now you get to know what are some knowledge you need to know, and documents. By that I mean you always want to go into a social networking events with your resume, your updated resume. It's very important to have it always ready with you. Okay, Chelsea, did you raise your hand? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. So
Sure.
for me, I just find it weird. For me, when I look at someone's LinkedIn profile and I have an idea what their background is, and then when I actually meet the person, I find it weird to say, "Hey, I saw this by reading your LinkedIn profile. Can I ask some more questions about this?" It seems like I'm stalking them. So I was wondering, is there another way to, ask this question?
Oh, so you're asking about the way of framing your questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's very common for you to have that question. This is what I told to my students in my class. I said, well, I'm not suggesting you to stalk people, but people would be impressed by your effort. Okay, so you can frame your questions in a way that I'm really interested in studying or like say working in this industry. So I put extreme effort knowing about people or learning from the successful people who have been working for a long time in this industry. It gets me be very curious about your background, and that's why I read your bio. Does that make sense? You give a rationale and to show your motives. When you are being very transparent, I'm pretty sure that's your motives, right? So if you're being transparent about your motivation, then people would be convinced that you're being sincere and genuine when you're in a conversation. Okay, that's a really good question, I have to say. Okay, so this is something really came to my mind just now. I just added this picture to my slide. Other than knowing the context, other than knowing about your potential interactions in the social networking events, I want to remind you some kind of nonverbal cues. Okay, could you please give just name anyone from this picture to me? Who do you think has the best seating style? Who sits the best while in a job interview or social networking event? Is this guy or anyone?
I would say the second right in the top. Yes.
Sure. Why so?
Because she looks very calm.
Okay.
Not
well,
nervous.
Facial expressions, right? Okay. Any other guests? Ziyu, hi. You. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Do you want to say something? Oh, what did I misheard it?
No, I was just saying like the top picture, the left from right. The second left from.
Second line.
Second one from left on the top.
Oh, this guy. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah, this guy and also the one above, the gentleman above.
The one above. Okay. All right. Okay. So it's very interesting because we've studied many students who are in the job interview process, and this is actually the best guess. Okay, this guy sees the best in social networking events, if that's the case, or in job interview. Okay, the first line, the top photo, has a bunch of nervous people. You probably can tell, like Dr. He guessed about this guy and this guy. Did you notice his hand right here? Okay, right, twisting his fingers all the time, so it shows nervous. And this guy indeed is the best example for nonverbal communication. Okay, so he's not behaving or sitting like this guy or these girls who are having one leg on top of another, because whenever you talk to a person with a higher social status, like say in a job interview, having your legs lay on another one, it shows the arrogance or the careless. Okay, so it's quite interesting. I know it's kind of subjective, but just something I want to throw in to give you a reminder that your nonverbal cues should show your confidence. For instance, right now I do see those who are turning on your camera. I like your gestures a list right now online. But I do have a lot of students who are in my class, they're just holding the laptop, holding their cell phone while they're lying on the bed. I'm like, come on, stay up right here. You're not professional, okay? All right. So after the beginning, previously where we've talked about preparation, we've talked about your nonverbal cues, all of these like physical and psychological preparation you need to do. And right now we get to the self-intro part. Okay, self-introduction, known as elevator pitch, is the hardest part for almost everybody. So now I wanted to use the answers you just created for my self-analysis exercise. Remember these questions? Okay, take out those answers, and then I wanted to start by whatever you want, okay, to create a 3-minute intro. I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. For those of you who are not turning on your cameras, I don't know if you're there, but if you are when you are in the breakout rooms, I do want you to talk. Because this is a really good way for you to know each other as well. Okay, start with a 3-minute intro by using the answers you just created to answer my question. Think about that, okay? And now I'm going to create a breakout room and put everybody in. And this is my feeling. Some of the rooms are having fun all together, and I'm glad to see that. But most of the rooms are having very short conversations, okay? Why so? Because first of all, you feel like your self-introduction is following the traditional way of doing. What do I mean by that? You introduce your name, where you're from, and then that's it. Like, oh, nice to see everybody, right? So if that was your introduction, I would say you're not really making the best out of the 3 minutes. And what should your 3 minutes include? You should include all of these your answers to all of these questions. Okay, for instance, of course, your name, where you're from. Those are two very common things to be included. But what's your biggest achievements in the past? Right? Why do we need to know about you? Why do we need to remember you? All right. So those are some things to consider that you want to include into your 3-minute self-introduction, because first impression matters, right? We just talked about that. And also, what are something or your expertise that make you stand out of your peers? Okay, if I know 2 people from accounting areas, why do I need to remember, hypothetically, say Chelsea, but not Jinxing? Okay, people have very short attention span. If people give you 3 minutes to listen and you want to value it, you don't want to waste their time. And by remembering that, you wouldn't really just go with my name, my location, and that's it, right? So now thinking about that, I want to give another challenge, okay? You just had a 3-minute long introduction, and now I want to give you a little bit of time to reduce it to 1 minute, and I'm giving you the tips to do it, okay? There are 4 strategies to do it. First of all, you can organize your information based on your years of experience. You can say, overall, I have 23 years in technical areas, 10 years in X, 13 years in something else. The highlights of my 33 years are XYZ, okay? This way you get to introduce who you are in 1 minute and to impress people. I do have another example of organizing your content or your past experience based on background. For instance, you can highlight some achievements you've made in the past. I used to be the president for my student clubs, for instance, or I served as a professional communication trainer for various kinds of companies. Okay, so you can just have a central idea that summarizes all of your background in 1 minute. Or the third strategy is to introduce yourself by location. If you have ever worked in some big corporates or some really good universities like USC, Yale, Harvard, you can organize your past experience by categorizing them into locations. When I was in Harvard, this is what I did, or the highlights of my Harvard journey is XYZ. When I was in USC, the highlights of my USC experience is XYZ, okay? And the last strategy is to introduce your title, your job title. If you are a practitioner and you have experience to introduce, it's hard to squeeze all of them into 1 minute. you can highlight several really good job titles or really impressive job titles you get to share with the rest of people. And then organize your, again, biggest achievements by using job titles, okay? One thing I want to remind everybody is that if you're just telling us some very general background, I would have hard time remembering you. And everybody would do the same thing. Because in a social networking event like this, okay, like this virtual online social networking event, people are not really completely staying focused. Okay, you get to see people, come and go all the time. So you want to make sure that in a very short amount of time, your information is impressive enough. By doing so, you can quantify your experience to the most level using numbers. If for me, I can give my personal example. I would quantify my teaching excellence by using my teaching evaluation numbers, right? From 1 to 5, my average teaching evaluation 4.5 or 4.6, and it's very high comparatively speaking. So that's a number. If you have ever taken in charge of several projects, is there any, like, how much money did you generate? Okay, how many people did you ever lead in your team? Or how many clients did you ever get to retain in your leadership? Okay, so those are the numbers you can generate using stats to frame your experience. And people tend to believe in numbers more than some other general descriptions, even though stats to me is pretty much like a big lie as well. But anyway, numbers are more convincing comparatively speaking, okay? All right, so now I'm going to give you, let's say, 1 minute to think about it. And let me call some people I just knew about in a breakout room. Let's give some examples and try to get some feedback, okay? Learning from making mistake is the best way to learn, I have to say. So you can pick one out of the 4 strategies to reduce your self-intro to 1 minute. We should play some background music.
Yeah, we were thinking about that, but we forgot to pick one.
Like the lottery music. Who's gonna be my next victim?
Oh,
That's a good idea.
right. Can't find it.
Oh, do we have 5 minutes left? Am I right?
Yeah, but
Yes.
I think we're okay if they were.
All right, we'll try to speed up a little bit. If we don't get to finish, we'll save the rest of them into the next one. Okay, so who wants to try? I remember I met Tang, the galaxy. Oh, did she leave already? She escaped. I told her I'm gonna call her, and she's like, "No, I'm gonna be gone." Okay, Lingu. Well, I'm reading based on your screen name. Ling?
Yes, me. Are you talking to me? Hi.
Yes, hi, I'm talking to you. Do you want to give a try?
Yeah, maybe in 1 minute, right?
No. It's better than not doing it.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Ling Wang. So this is my fake name Lingo. So nice to meet you. I'm actually a young professional from aerospace industry. I'm an electrical engineer. So I'm proud of my job because we're making the history. So I'm part of designing the hardware that we're gonna attach the small rocket under the wing of the Boeing 747 to do the air launch. So that's what I'm proud of. So besides that, sorry,
You did a very good job.
I am not prepared.
No, you don't have to. Okay, I'm not
Alright.
asking everybody to be prepared. I think you did a
Okay.
job. I like the point that you're actually pointing out a very actual and concrete example to show something you're proud of. I think it's a very smart way
Mm-hmm.
your work experience. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
do like it, to be honest. I think you're not really picking specifically any one of the four I'm teaching. I think you did a very good choice as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Yu Ting, we know each other right now.
Hi.
How about you? Give a try. Don't be shy. You're gonna be fine.
I don't think I can give a good example.
No, an example is a good example. Okay.
Okay.
Give a try. Okay. You want to think about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Everest, I know you as well.
Sure, I can give it a try. Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Everest. I am a PhD candidate at USC. I'm currently exploring opportunities outside of academia, meaning in industry, and my proudest moment is completing an internship at Electronic Arts, a leading game publisher. So I prototyped a machine learning system that I presented to the chief marketing officer, and the product team also liked it. And so when it goes into production, it can serve several million people weekly. And what I'm most proud of about the experience is that it is also going to become a US patent. So I'm really proud. I'm really glad that after so many years of schooling, I finally know enough math and science in order to create something that is useful to a wide group of people.
That's great. Wonderful job. I think for the first time, this is a really good example. And I think, I'm guessing, okay, you are using location, right? And your background, right? And you're summarizing what you've been doing and you're also at the edge of the business trend. I like it. Great job. So now I think you get to see a little bit more examples how to use all of these strategies to summarize your past experience. And I like Everest's example of using numbers, like what's the concrete outcome you generate out of your past experience, and that's very important. Okay, usually people care about what did you learn and what did you acquire from your past experience, not really what did you do. Okay, all right. So for the last several minutes, I want to quickly talk about how to talk to people, because I think this is one of the important questions you filled out in the survey, and I figured that you might need help with that. So after you introduce yourself, you're officially getting into the conversation with people, right? And then listening is a very good skill for you to get started. You need to listen to others' conversation, even when you don't really know how to continue the discussion. You don't know what to ask. You don't know what to ask because you don't know about that person. So listening to that person's introduction and then ask about any question related to that. So I can give you some examples. We usually suggest people to ask 5 questions, 5 key questions. The first 3 is about gaining insights and picking up wisdom. So for instance, Jing Xing and Claire read about my bio, right? And then they know about my background. They can probably ask me about, hey, I noticed that you've worked for or you cooperated with Lee. And how do you find that experience valuable? Okay, this is one of the questions you can ask. You can kind of pick their wisdom from their past work experience and ask about how did their past experience contribute to their current work or current job in the workplace. Okay, so this is one way to ask about questions. We call it as observation and related questions. I'm not sure if you can see me right now, but do you see my 2 hands? You acquire first, the observation from listening, and then you ask a related question about it. Every time when you meet a new person, you want to ask three related questions based on your observation, and try to find three common things you share with that person. Okay, it can be anything. Even though you might be from different industries, you can find about, you can realize that people complain about the same thing. For instance, people complain about work-life balance. People complain about miscommunication. People complain about salary, right? People complain about, I don't know, their kids, right? So people complain about a lot of things together. So if you ask questions, you get to actually know how the work environment looks like in that person's life, and you get to find a commonalities shared with that person. Okay, and then this is for your first three questions, right? We have 5 questions. Number 4 question you need to ask is about names. Okay, if you get to find the shared commonalities, then I think the next step will be appropriate for you to ask for some names to help you. So for instance, Everest just introduced interests machine learning. And I still remember the girl who just escaped called Galaxy S9, that person, she's interested in machine learning as well. Okay, so after you get to find the connection, and you actually can ask for names, say, hey, since we're both interested in this topic, do you get to introduce someone that I can also learn from in this area? I want to learn from, all of these successful people so that I can pick on your wisdom. So you can ask for names and then expand your connections in this way. And the last step will be your last question, the number 5 question, okay? You offer help. You may be wondering, you're in a social networking events. I usually ask for help. I don't offer help. How does that work, right? Remember, communication is a give and take. Social networking is a give and take as well. You give something first, and you take something after that, okay? So for instance, if I get to meet with someone in, let's say, LEAP, in the LEAP, 9.0 will be the next one. If some students came to me, say, hey, professor, so nice to see you today, and I enjoyed your lectures, blah, blah, blah. And please keep me in mind if there's anything I can help in the future. Just always know that I'm very happy to help. And I would actually remember that person better, and I would actually ask for help next time if I do need help, okay? Then it would be way much easier for that person to ask the favor back if he or she ever helped me. Does that make sense? So you give something first, and then you take something. It's always the golden rule right here in social networking. And the last step is always the key. Many people don't know or remember about that. I'm on a very quick interaction, but it doesn't seem like we have enough time. We'll skip that, okay? Something I want to remind you not to do in a social networking event and interview, okay? Do not ever ask something you knew already or you're supposed to know, okay? For instance, you are supposed to know I'm from USC, right? If you ask about, which school you're from, then that's going to piss me off, right? You're like, did you do your work, right? And it's very much similar to students asking me, hey, professor, what's the due date? I'm like, it's on the syllabus. Come on, right? You're supposed to know that already. So there are something you are supposed to know, and be prepared not to ask about those, okay? Do not ask too much about work history, because you're supposed to know that already, or confidential questions where you're not supposed to know about their workplace. You do not ask opinions for your resume. And I still remember when I was in one of the mentor days for LEAP, I had a student coming to me holding her resume, asking for, I'm like, this is not the context. I'm supposed to give an opinion on your resume, okay? So you need to consider the context and the social norms, okay? All right. The end would be the end of your job interview or the end of your social networking events. You first want to thank them by showing appreciation. That's very common sense, right? But on top of that, you want to summarize your actions. You should remind them one more time if they ever made any commitment to introduce you to anyone else, okay? You can say, thank you very much for your time today. I enjoyed the time spent with you. I look forward to your email introducing me to Dr. He, for instance. Okay, you summarize the actions discussed already in the job interview or social networking event. And then this way you're indirectly reminding the other person that, hey, we get some deal here, okay? And then some stay connected strategies. Thank you letter, for sure. That's like a no doubt thing, right? But how to stay connected in the following time? For instance, if you've added someone on WeChat, or if you've met someone in an interview or an event, you want to keep connecting with them. You don't have to, force yourself. But I think a very good strategy is to forward the shared interested topics. For instance, if you want to stay connected with me, okay, and you know I'm interested in business communication or communication related topics, after you add me on LinkedIn, right, you can constantly forward me something related with business communication. You can ask me for insights. Say, Professor Guo, I read this article somewhere. I figured that you might be interested, and then I kind of want to know how you think about it. And I have to say, I kind of like replying these kind of requests. And I do know many other people, practitioners, who want to exchange information through this way, because right now people hardly have time to read, right? And we cannot really make too much time reading, books or magazines. So those kind of online information exchange will be the best way for you to stay connected. And it also shows that you have very strong passion for this topic in this industry. And it shows that you're keeping your eye in the latest business trend and the change in the industry, right? So I want to just offer these tips for all of you. Follow-up email. This is a bad example. Okay, you may laugh after reading it, but this is actually a real case. My students would write up something like this to their internal referral, or some people they met from the Children Talk, the social networking events. I'm like, no, you don't want to do that. You want to kind of send emails on at a quarterly, a sequence, like every quarter. You can update all of your social contacts about your current success, your current stories, your interest in the latest topics, stuff like that. But you never want to send emails like this, okay, to them and kind of remind them, hey, I'm the smarter guy right here.